Hey guys! So, I'm pretty much just gonna be sitting here. Oh, where's my YouTube? Probably should open that up. Yeah, so, if you have any questions, go ahead and ask. And otherwise, I'm pretty much just gonna sit here and do my thing until someone asks me a question in the live chat. Because otherwise, I'm just gonna sit here. If you are catching this later, I always post them after if I answer questions. Otherwise, I'll just take them down. I will post right now. Or no, I can't edit this. Damn. I'll post in the description when this, when I stop babbling and when questions start actually getting answered. So, you know, if you want to skip to whatever that number is, you could do that now. Can I save any of this? Probably not. Hello, one person. Ask me questions. Because otherwise I'm just going to sit here and eat my pork rinds. Which I'm sure is going to be super thrilling. Pork rinds for dinner. 9 people watching. One of you has to have a question for me. I would hope anyway. Hello, Red of Scale. Right? Pork rinds are delicious. Especially these barbecue ones. And they were on sale for $1. Which makes me really excited. Of course, they're messy as balls. Oh, I didn't finish reading the question. So for small wings, how to cut fabric clothing to hide the back brace. Or for larger wings, how to attach something to the top of it or to hide it. So basically, the back brace has to attach at 2 points. There's a lot of different ways that you can handle this. You can create holes in your fabric so that, like, that whole plate comes out of the back brace, which I recommend because if you're, like, I attach the back fabric piece to the 2 bolts that go through, so there's feathers covering that whole section, and that way when they pivot, they're not, you know, gumming up with fabric. But you could create 2 holes for the bolts to go through, so long as you create something for them to pivot along that's not going to tear your fabric. You could create rectangular holes for the back brace to go through. I think that the easiest way is if you can figure out a way that the wings and your costume can be like one piece. That's the easiest way to keep it like perfectly covered. Another way to do it is just to cover the back in feathers. That's another pretty easy way to do it, and probably, like, if you want to be able to take the wings off and on again, probably the best method. The other thing that I'm working on now is creating, like, a back plate that stays inside the costume, and then the wings themselves will, like, latch and, like, bolt on. So, like, all the pivoting and all the everything will be separate, and you just kind of click it on there. What side actuator would you recommend? I assume you mean size. I'm looking at an 8-inch stroke or a 10-inch stroke. That is a lot of stroke. If the frame expands fully, it would fit a 10-inch actuator. Is there any reason not to have it expand all the way? How big is your frame? And with large wings, does the brace need to be secured over the shoulders as opposed to a corset brace, I guess? I actually have a corset brace for my 14-foot wingspan ones. Admittedly, shoulder straps help a lot with the larger ones, so there is that. And so the way I figure out what stroke I need is I basically close the wing, and it's like the, I don't know, if you're on the Patreon, you can see the little sketch I did of the framework. But basically, that top elbow joint out to the outermost wrist joint is how I open and close the wings, and or that outermost bar, because it might not reach up all the way. And so your stroke is basically going to be the change in distance from those two positions while closed and those positions while opened. And that's your stroke length. Now, you can post, like, I always put the joint at the elbow, or sorry, the one end of the actuator at the elbow, and then the other one anywhere along that other piece of frame. Do I have the frame? I don't think I have a frame to show. But basically, that stroke length is dependent on how much throw those 2 points have between closed and open. Don't get an actuator that like fits that space. Just get the proper throw, and then you post it. You're basically going to post it at that pivot point and then along the framework. Does that make sense? Probably not. Let me see if I can find a picture. Let me answer these other questions. I'll get back to it. Is there a website where you would recommend to go for all of the air hydraulic? Yeah, the pneumatic parts, I go to Mcmaster Carr. Ooh, I can type. Get out of here, pork rinds. So that right there is, I don't know, where I get most of my stuff. There's also, oh, and I don't remember the name of it. Hold on. I'll find it for you. No, not what I want. Bookmarks. Yes. Oh no, that's not it either. Mobile bookmarks. Here we go. Okay, Fright Props is the other place that oh my god, I've recently been turned on to this shop, and they've got some of the coolest pneumatic parts, and it's mostly for props outside, but they've got like remote control things that help you control pneumatics. So it's kind of like if you want to mix electric and pneumatic. That's the website right there. Just posted it. I wonder if I can post it in the thing. Okay. I've been kicking around making hidden wings like Jeepers Creepers. I have a few ideas, but would love to hear what you think. What do you mean hidden? Like just the bat wings? Because, like, that's not too hard to do. There's actually quite a number of ways that you can make bat wings, and they're a lot simpler and a lot lighter than regular wings. So, but I don't know what you mean by hidden. Basically, the way I make the bat wings is the framework. You can either do a single pivot, which is where it just kind of like rotates at the wrist joint, or which is probably the easier of the methods, and like it's far less complicated. And like with bat wings, especially if you have that elbow joint, you want to have all of your bones coming off of the wrist, because the problem you'll run into is if you have any bones anywhere else, the fabric will rip or stretch along the base and cause all kinds of problems when it's folded in. So like a single pivot design works really well, and it just works like a fan. You have the bones bones of the wings, and you can glue fabric in between, and then glue foam over, whatever. How many pairs of wings do you have? Not for sale, but for yourself. I haven't counted. I think I only have 3 wings for my costumes right now. If you're counting, yeah, no, there's ones for sale, but I don't keep those. No, wait! I have 4 wings, if you include my steampunk ones. Do you sell any of the animatronic wings? Yes, you can go to, I'll post my email. If you just email me, not for Halloween because, oh my god, I'm so booked, but I do sell them. Let's put that in there. I've learned that once this posts later, people want information, so I'm trying to get ahead of this because I know what they're going to ask me. Bat wings that you cannot see them under a trench coat. Okay. So they're going to have to be really small. You could do it, but and you're going to want them to at that point be a tri-pivot system because unless they're a full fan from the joint. You can do it. I think it'd be really cool. I don't know how they're going to open. He'd have to take off the trench coat for them to open. But my fairy wings that I've done folded completely behind, and those were basically a single pivot from the back. Fairy wings are, a little bit different, but it's doable. Why isn't it going there? If running electric actuators, could you run lights off the same power source? Yes, if it's rated for that power source. So, depending on you can get AC and DC actuators, you can get 12 volt, you can get 24 volt, you can get all kinds of variations of actuators. So you just need to check the technical specs to make sure that everything's running off of the same thing. Typically, lights run off, especially LED lights, run off a lower power source, at least in terms of amps. But you can look and try. I have not done so. I want to try though. I want to make some Mercy wings that are both going to light up and move. So that'll be a challenge. But theoretically, it is possible. So, and you could always put a little resistor on or something. I don't know. There's all kinds of things you could do. Yes, the short answer is yes. The long answer is it's complicated. Did you mention in the other video that you sell the aluminum back brace? Yes, I did. Email me if you want one. If you're willing to bend it and spray glue it and put it together yourself, they're actually pretty cheap. I don't, because basically for my orders, I have to order several at a time anyway, so adding other people's orders is actually advantageous. So go ahead and message me, and I'll sell you a back brace. Average cost to build your own pneumatic wings. It kind of depends on the size, especially with fabric and feathers. The feathers, I'll spend $80 to $100 on just the feathers for a smaller set, but then some of the bigger sets I'm spending $300. So it's a little bit different, but I typically on mine spend about $700 per build for a medium set. What's your power source for the electric actuators that you run? I can post a link. I go to Amazon. I basically run this set of batteries in a series. Oh, come on, get out here. I haven't ordered some in a while. I bought a gajillion of them at once. Your device. I don't want my Kindle stuff. Your orders. Okay. So, it's been a while, but if I go LEDs, batteries, more LEDs, bird food. Aha! Okay. I have a link for you. These right here. I put them in series myself. You can get a 12-volt battery all made up and nice pretty easily without having to wire them yourself. But they cost a whole lot more money. So, and here's the link. Shtabam! You basically just wire them together, and it technically, when fully charged, comes out to, 14-volt battery, but whatever. It's not that big a deal. Doesn't need to be perfect. In fact, I have, at one point, we managed to run them, God, it was at like 10, 9 volts. Let's see. Batteries. How many? I have no idea. A lot. I basically did Phoenix Comic Con on, the whole entire day, and I did nothing but open and close them pretty much relatively constantly, unless I was taking breaks or in a panel. So I'm gonna guesstimate about 200. That is coming from nowhere, other than, oh my god, I was there all day. There was somebody I dropped. Who did I drop? I dropped a question. Stacy Gerber, I think you were the one. We were talking about how to decide what actuators to get. God, I don't have a... I think on this thing I can do... Yeah, well, I'll do that later. I don't think I have a picture of the frame. I'm looking for it. Find it. Let's see. No. Wait. Aha. Well, I suppose this will do. I wonder if I can put this... Okay. Wonder if I can get this on my C2. That is not what I want. Come here. If this suddenly goes not live because I do something stupid, I'm sorry. Ooh, maybe? Wait for it. No! Jeez, it's right in my face. Alright. Bam. Okay. So, basically... Oh, you can't see... my mouse. Okay, well, basically, the pivot points I'm talking about here are the junction between 1 and 3 is what I'm calling the elbow joint, and the junction between 4 and 5 is the wrist joint that I'm talking about. And so those 2 points get closer together or farther away depending on whether the wing is open or closed. And so when it, you measure the distance when it's closed and you look at it and, open it and see what the change in distance is. Regardless of how big your the distance is between those 2 points when it's closed, you don't necessarily need the points to you don't necessarily need the ends of the actuator to be at those 2 points. That's what I do when I do my pneumatics, because it typically ends up being that size. But the actuators tend to be shorter by a little bit, and you can mount the one end of the actuator. Actually, you can pretty much mount it almost wherever, like anywhere along 3 and 4, so that those two are moving. But like, I put them at the junction of 1 and 3. I mount the end there, and then I mount the other end anywhere along 4 that it hits when it's closed, and double check it when it's open and closed that it does that. If you find that the actuator is too, like, you have, basically your throw is 5 inches, and they only have a 4-inch and a 6-inch. I've run into this myself. Get the 6-inch, because if you get it too small, it's just not going to open all the way, or it's not going to close all the way. But there are limit switches inside the actuator. It will stop itself. It's not. Whoops, sorry, I almost closed out. You always want to get the one that's bigger. You don't want one too big, but basically, if you get one that's just a little bit too small, it's not going to open or close all the way. And it won't, if you're using aluminum, it won't break your frame. If you're using wood, okay, yes, it will. You want to find one that's exactly the right size, but you probably won't be able to. So, my connection run out. Couldn't listen to the Lance answer. Which answer? If your feed drops, we'll get some pork rinds and be back here in 5. Got it. Plan. Okay, so for Benedict's wings from Battleborn, when making the feathers, would it be better for off doing one side white and the other brown, or just airbrushing the other side brown and hope it doesn't go through? Oh! I spray paint, and I'll spray paint and airbrush and do all kinds of stuff. That construction adhesive that I use makes it pretty much, like, not impermeable. I mean, I suppose if you dipped it in something on one side, it would eventually get through, or there might be spots where it's thin, but seriously, like, you can paint one side. If you're painting white, I will say that just, like, white fabric has a tendency to be more see-through just by virtue of its color. Like, it has nothing there. So if you put brown on the back and white on the front, it's going to look slightly brown on the front, not because the color is bleeding through, just because the white allows light to come through. Does that make sense? It's not that there's any brown on that side, it's just that it's a see-through color, a little bit see-through on one side. For those, I thought you were thinking about doing foam, which actually might work really well. You could use foam instead of the fabric. Kind of the same technique. You even use a spray glue with the foam. Foam actually tends to stick pretty well with like a spray glue or like a what's that other one? Contact cement. It's evening. So yeah, there are options there too, and that way you probably wouldn't see the brown on the other side. It would just be a thicker feather, but it kind of looks like a thicker feather because it's, animated. For anyone else wanting to do different inside-outside colors. Oh, yeah, so, and I will say that, like, feathers have a tendency, like, when hit right, to, like, you'll see the color on the other side if it's different than on the front and the back. So, The lighting will also kind of have that effect. But yeah, I mean, I haven't, like, those owl wings you saw, later, that, my original video, those are a very off-white, and they're only painted on the back. They're painted on the back dark colors, so, but there are stripes on the front to kind of mask that, so, I don't know, solid colors, you do see it on white. Do you take requests, and how much do you think it will cost for Archangel from last X-Men movie? Oh, I want to make those so bad. I know a guy, so, like, the bladed wings, they're so cool. The problem with a lot of making the wings that I make is that feathers will kind of bunch up, though. So, like, you need them to be as thin as possible, otherwise they won't slide over one another, or they need to be pivoted, both of which are options. Ooh, I want to make them so bad. And I'm thinking of doing, like, printed blades, and then, like, on a relatively thin material with, like, what it shows there, and then going in and, like, actually, like, blading them. They'd have to be really thin to start, so there wouldn't be a lot of blading to do, but, oh, it'd be so cool. As far as a quote, depends on the size you want, but if you were going to go anything, like, 12 foot or greater, which I would recommend just because of, like, his wings are pretty impressive. You could get away with maybe a 10 foot, but his wings are pretty big. So, I don't know, like, to start, I don't know, the top of that framework. Let's look it up. Trying to remember what the top is, because I know, like, in the comics it's just like this silver piece. It is not realistic to any kind of functionality whatsoever. Remember. Doop, doop, derp, derp, derp. Haha, found it. Obviously some faux structures would have to go into it to get it to actually move right, because CG and reality don't often mix. But it looks pretty simple. Yeah, I basically do plastic blades. Someday, someone will order them from me. But yeah, for 12 foot, like 12 foot to start, I don't know, it might be a little less just because there are fewer feathers. How many are here? Hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 13. And then his back has like a little 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Okay, never mind. They'd be the same. Yeah, 2,500 is what I charge for the 12 footers. So, for this much custom work, I don't know how detailed you want me to get. But, depending on what I get told from my print shop, which would basically be printing the blades, yeah, depending on what he tells me, it would cost to print and cut all the blades. That goes up. Probably a couple $100 more. Plus 1 vote for wanting to see Archangel wings being made. Okay, well that's that. So Mercy, Archangel, and what was the other one? I have a project list. Those are on there. Oh, Falcon from the Avengers. I want to do all of them, and then I also want to do. Oh, I want to do Wasp. I want to do so many, but those are in the works someday. I'm kind of suffering from the whole, like, if like, what people pay me for typically is what people have already bought, and they can see it, and they go, oh, that's shiny, I want that shiny thing, and not I want something new. Can you do it? And I'll pay you to do it, which is what I wish I could do. You just answered my question. Love you so much. I love you too. Do you plan to come to France soon? No, just because I'm poor and have no money. But you know what? Someday, when I am a rich and famous cosplayer, which does actually happen. I used to say when I was a rich and famous soil scientist, and then when I'm a rich and famous chemist, or a rich and famous hydrologist, and none of those things have happened so far. Nor is it very typical to be a rich and famous hydrologist. But this poor grind. Falcon wings, right? Someday. Well, those ones are cool. So, like, I always think about mechanisms and how they could actually functionally work. Now, if you watch, like, parts shrink and move in ways that's not real, and that's normal when things are CG. It pisses me off. Especially when you're a cosplayer and you're trying to recreate something that's not real and impossible because they use impossible physics and things. So, but one of the things that Falcon's Wings do, they're in plates and then they all kind of fold out, and there's too many plates to, I think, reliably put everything so that they fold up nice. But I do want to make, like, a series of plates that basically, like, they track together to, like, fold out and fold back in and have multiple plates that, like, basically turn in on each other and fold in and clack together and then fold up into the backpack. Not obviously into the tiny backpack that he has, because there's no freaking way to fit that much material in that much space without, Ant-Man's technology that doesn't exist. Curses. But someday. Basically I'm working on it. Red acrylic Falcon wings. Yeah. Or Sintra. There's a lot of different materials out there that you can use, especially since there's only parts of his wings that are really see-through. So, we'll see. You asking to see my feet? It's a little weird. They're tiny, tiny feet, if that helps, but I'm not moving the camera. I'm too lazy. Mm-hmm. No. No. If I send you a Facebook message, do you think you'll be able to send me a list of detailed materials you would use to do the Archangel wings? Because in France, materials don't have the same name. No. Because I have, not that I don't want to. It's just that I don't know what I would use yet. Like, I have to make them first. Sintra is like this sign material. I don't know. It's a plastic. It's actually kind of like a thermoplastic, only thicker, and a lot of people make armor out of it, and that's what I'm currently trying to do for my Mercy costume. But yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna use for them yet. I'm sorry. As far as materials, I can send you. Hold on. Sintra and EVA foam and minimum. Nuts, bolts, and stuff. Square aluminum tubing, base frame. And then a lot of it would just be, honestly, okay, here's the deal. When I build stuff, whenever I go into Ace Hardware, they're like, would you like help? And I'm like, no. And they're like, oh, well, do you know what you're looking for? And I'm like, no, because I don't. And a lot of what I find and a lot of the materials I find are just me going, okay, I need something that functions like this. I'm going to wander around until I find something that looks or functions like that. And so I think that that would be what I would do for the Archangel wings is I would get the blades printed the way I want. And I might, they look like they're each one is multi-layered, which is a pain, but it looks like each one is multi-layered, and I would get 2 blades printed and then glue them together in that pattern that it has, and maybe blade and rub and buff. That's another one. Oh, dang. Get back there. Rub and buff metallics. It's a really great way to add metallic looking color to your stuff. And probably do that along wherever I bladed it. Basically, like, filed it down so that it looks like it has a blade edge where it bevels. And that would be, and then the rest of it would be my basic frame that you see on Patreon, and then, you can get rid of this. Nope, nope, no. Where? Apparently this just gets to stay up here. Whatever. So anyway, sorry about that. What was I saying? Yeah. Then the base frame, and then decorating the base frame. You just got to make sure that everything can move and stretch in a way that it's not gonna hurt anything. Back to questions. Have you heard of Costume Con? It is a traveling convention. No, I have not. What do you think of feathers made from craft foam instead of broadcloth? I actually love craft foam, especially if it's a static set, because the broadcloth can get a little bit heavier. The problem with craft foam when it comes to moving wings is just their size and how thick they are, but totally legitimate. You could do that instead, especially if you can glue them in a way that they stick together and they're lighter. That'd be great. The downside is definitely the thickness. They catch on each other a lot easier. They don't move as nicely. They rip easier. Not a lot easier, but easier, because once those my feathers are indestructible. I've been hit by so many people and thwacked, and I mean, at one point somebody wasn't paying attention and totally like bent the sides in. I was like, oh well, that's unfortunate. Bend them back. Like, they're not. Whereas the foam, I don't know. You're more likely to just rip them. They also don't hold paint as well. So if you have paint on them and then you paint on the foam, like, it'll eventually, especially along the edges, rub off. And I mean, I suppose that'll happen eventually with the fabric ones, but I mean, I've had my wings for, actually, I guess not that long. It's been, I guess, half a year, and I've worn them a jillion times. Speaking of which, Red of Scale, our hot girl, your favorite set of wings that you've made? No, actually that first set is my favorite. Like, they look so good. The hot girl set, I don't know, they're just gray. Kind of boring. I really want to make, like, a really pretty, like, dragon set with, like, dragon scales along the edges and stuff. I've got an idea, and you guys will see it come Ren Fair next year. So, February, I'm hoping. I'm gonna make, like, this dragon puppet winged thing. It's gonna be freaking awesome. So. Any other questions? What would a rough estimate be on the price of them? Them being... No! Pork rind! Why have you abandoned me? Want to see the hammer. I don't know what you're talking about. Want to see the hammer. You talking... Oh, okay. I don't know what wings you're talking about. What wings are you talking about? What? Oh my god, it's 3 there? You should come to one of the earlier ones. Let's see. What do we got? Oh, I guess there's no new ones. Maybe I'll change the Saturday, October 22nd one to a noon one so that you can not be watching this at 3 a.m., you crazy person. You're welcome, Rawl. The wings I sell, the wings I sell, cost anywhere from, like, basically $500, well, $400 for children's sets and stuff. It can get cheaper, but for adults, $500 all the way to $3,500 is what I've sold. So, yes. Depends on what you want. Yes, I do sell wings. I sell lots of wings. That's all I do. My master's degree is useless. Yeah, of course. And I'm glad I can help some people. I know a lot of you guys are getting ready for Halloween and conventions at the beginning of November, a couple of people. So I want to make sure you guys... And I've been so bad about doing the Google Hangouts, and my videos are slow coming because reasons. The frickin' what is it? The little SD card, I only have like a 32 gigabyte, which is, you know, not a lot when you're talking about video files, and so I end up having to stop and like download everything and then wait for it to download and then going back and putting it in, and it was taking 3 times as long to do anything, and so, it's taking forever. And so I basically, it's like I have to finish my work and ship them out to customers who actually need them, and so I kind of stopped making videos for a while so I could catch up, and I haven't caught up yet. So, but I'm trying to get you guys a... Bye, Victoria. I'm trying to get at least an overview video out. Speaking of which, speaking of SD cards, I can't find it anywhere. And I have no idea what I did with it. I thought it was in my camera, but it is not. So, I may have to reshoot. Yay. What am I planning on wearing for Halloween? Death. Shima Bay. I cosplay Death. Or cosplay. I do Death every year, every Halloween, and Halloween and Day of the Dead. So in Tucson we have a Day of the Dead parade, Dia de los Muertos, and it's freaking awesome. And we, you know, honor the dead, and I honor death itself. And I try and do her justice and not just be like just a scary drunk person, because they actually used to have it the Sunday after Halloween, and now they have, or the Sunday like immediately around Halloween, and then they moved it to the one afterwards so that people, like whenever the Halloween celebration is, they moved it to the weekend after, because there were too many drunk people just in their Halloween costumes, and that's not the point of the Day of the Dead parade. It's to honor the dead and whatnot. So that is what I will be doing this year, and probably every year until I am satisfied with my interpretation. This year she's going to be a harpy. Hey. So. Whoops. Sandman's sister death? No. That would be pretty easy, actually. And she's cool, dude. That story's so good. Freaking love that series. No, I'm not gonna do that, sadly. I'm going to do, like, a harpy version of her. Kind of like the Morgan from, you know, Druidic lore. Kind of scary, but totally beautiful. And, you know, they say she can turn into a crow, and, so I'm going to be kind of like a half crow, half woman version of death. It's gonna be pretty cool. Hi. I commissioned the golden eagle tail, and I was wondering how you were planning on attaching them to the body. Via a belt. So, and you can, sew the back part of the belt that has the tail on it to whatever you want, but it's going to come as just a belt. Easy peasy. Clip it on. You're done. Okay. Well, that is 45 minutes. So unless there are any other burning questions, I'm going to go eat an actual meal instead of eating all these pork rinds. Right? She's cool. And I don't know, I've got some. There's a lady in France who makes leather armor and requested a trade. And I obliged her because I'm not going to turn down leather armor. And so she's getting a set of bat wings and I'm getting some armor. And I think it's going to look freaking cool. That's the idea. Anyway, I will see you guys next time. I don't remember when it is. What the heck is today? The 7th? Okay, so I will see you guys on the 12th. If you have any questions, come back and I will talk to you guys later. Bye!